Hi there, I'm Lisa Seifert. I have some thoughts today about sudden changes that the government announces. What do we do? What's that like for me? So, as a lawyer, I'm going to take a look at what is proposed or what is suddenly required, right? First of all, we read about it. Do I decide that we're going to go along with it right away? Maybe, maybe not. A few years ago, the government said you can pay for your applications online. You can use a credit card form or you could use a bank transfer. And people didn't trust that. But on the other hand, if you did use that, there were certain benefits, right? Because you could trace things in some ways faster. Um, so that was 3 or 4 years ago. Recently, it has been required that payments are made electronically on the electronic submission forms, and it's problematic. It's problematic. So we studied it and we tried it out and stopped doing it until recently. And now it's required, so of course we are complying with that particular thing. And the other option is to find ways to resist when there are sudden changes. And as a person who has to submit documents that are accepted by the government, it doesn't work sometimes to resist. We can oppose, for example, DACA, the program for deferred action for childhood applicants, um, that's been around for more than 10 years now. It was suddenly announced that the program would stop, right? And so that, since we know that impacts lots of people, almost 1 million people, resistance is not futile, right? It's not futile. It's great to try to push back against the government when they do things that are not fair. So, how do we do that? I mean, for my individual clients, we still have to comply. And I guess that's the main thrust of this message is it's my job as an attorney to make sure that people's applications follow the requirements of the law, of the policy, um, because to not do that exposes those clients to more negative action from the government. And these days, maybe exposes them to targeting. If a person applies for something and they're found not to qualify, they might be in a more vulnerable state. So we're going to try to make sure that the application is inside the lines to be accepted by the government. Resistance is not futile, but we don't resist in individual applications. We don't want people to be subject to any sudden negative action. Lots of changes with this administration, but it's not only this administration. I know that my colleagues and I, every time the forms change, the USCIS forms change, we want to know why. Why did an application for a green card go from 4 pages to 16 pages? Or why did the application for citizenship go in a similar way from about 4 pages or 8 pages to 20 pages? Why? They don't really tell us. They give us an opportunity for notice and comment, and we can say how these changes might impact our clients. It's a good idea to do that because the government says they're looking for our opinions, and sometimes the bad changes don't happen. But generally speaking, if the form is announced to be changed, we're going to use the new form. That seems obvious, but it seemed like a good topic to chat about today. Basically, we're going to comply. If there is a policy that is super harmful, we're going to find ways to resist. I'm going to talk with my colleagues and pay attention to people who are negatively impacted by one of the changes, and they file a lawsuit. The lawsuits then go to a judge, and maybe we will get a decision that says that policy can't be implemented. DACA is a good example of that. The first Trump administration tried to take DACA away. They announced there won't be more DACAs. And individuals in several states filed lawsuits to say that's not fair, that's harmful, and what do you know, the program is still existing. There's a lawsuit that has been pending, and we are waiting currently for the results of the judge's order. So when that changes, I'll make a video about that. But resistance is not futile. There are people that file lawsuits against the government, and it's great to know about those and to join them when we can.